Welcome back to Nonsense. I'm Chris, and this is an analysis and Easter egg breakdown of the Rick and Morty Season 8 premiere, Summer of All Fears. Let's start with a really short plot summary, though, in case you don't remember the plot. Skip to here for just the breakdown. We open in a Matrix world created by Rick with the constant messaging about not using his phone charger. Summer and Morty have been in for a few hours, but nearly 2 decades in Matrix time, and Summer has built a company that made phone chargers obsolete through wireless charging, in order to make the Matrix glitch out and shut down. She meets up with Morty and they escape together. She planned it to wake up when Beth was in the kitchen for her night wine, and convinces her to not let Rick wipe their memories. Summer plans to own her new teen life since she's nearly 40 now, mentally, but instead breaks down immediately and just becomes super judgy towards Beth for no reason. Morty, on the other hand, continues his plan of getting Rick to help him build a tank. Beth winds up trying to wipe Summer, who runs away. And Morty manages to knock Rick out, and I gotta say this moment got the biggest laugh out of me in the episode.
No!
Something the matter, sir? You wouldn't be putting people in matrices, would you?
What?
Because that's something you should never do.
Seriously, Morty?
Who's Morty? Is that someone you put in a matrix?
Morty goes to the most important, made-up power plant in the US, with the goal of shutting down all charging, and Summer stops him. And when a scientist says this
This is exactly why you shouldn't steal your grandpa's inventions!
They assume they're in another Matrix, and start beating the ever-loving shit out of the scientist. Morty even calls him an NPC, which was hilarious. But it's especially funny because it's a continuation of the simulation-based PTSD gag.
I'm back.
Don't! Or I won't know if I'm out!
All right, Rick.
You little son of a
What are you
bitch!
doing, Rick?
Are you a simulation? Huh? Are you a simulation?
No!
Rick shows up, and when a nuclear meltdown is about to happen, he saves the day. Summer and Morty decide to wipe their own memories and be normal teens again. Now for the actual breakdown. So for starters, there's obviously just a ton of charger-based stuff in the Matrix Rick made. I won't point out the obvious ones, but the more hidden ones are the building over here and the Android charger ports here, the 3 magazine covers Summer is in, this other building over here, and the bottle on her bar set, and even Summer's necklace, just to start. There's also just a ton of buildings that are charger-shaped and power logos everywhere, so I'm not going to point those out anymore unless they're unique. As always with the Rick and Morty animators, the attention to detail is always ridiculous. In her hidden compartment, she's got drawings of the house and Beth and Jerry and some kind of blueprint. Once she gets to Morty's house, there's this funny moment where her high heel gets stuck in the mud. We only get a quick shot of Morty's house before it transitions inside, but we can see he's been chopping wood and pulling cars apart. Obviously a hint at his mechanical leanings. Also, I love his dogs. We see pictures of his comrades throughout the years and the dog tags he got off CJ. But something interesting is that everything is clearly handmade, from the house to the furniture. He wanted to create a life away from the charger bullshit, so he literally built a house and furniture and started a little family with his dogs. Just accepting that Rick would get them out, since by now he's played through Roy how many times and just lived a bunch of lifetimes. So another couple decades to him isn't worth the effort to escape on his own, as opposed to Summer, who literally surrounded herself with charger culture in an attempt to get out on her own. But like we learn at the end, Morty wasn't actually just waiting. He was planning, and by all accounts, his plan did work. I gotta say, this moment felt very evil Morty to me.
To do. Pulls the charge right out of man's heart. Also, I didn't know Summer was gonna hijack a vehicle too. I've been planning this a lot longer than her. Anyway.
There's nothing special about this machine, a couple funny signs, God-created outlets, and charge belongs in the wall. They wake up and the monitors are just flashing the message, "Don't take Grandpa's phone charger." Once Beth joins, Summer says,
"Put that mind-blower gun down."
Obviously referencing the origins of the gun in the Morty's Mind Blowers episode. Later on, when Morty is working on the car, Rick tosses him a beer, and it exploding on the ground, igniting Morty's first PTSD flashback. We see lots more charger-related details, from the speaker to the cop uniform. Even the businesses are charged-themed. This woman's wearing a bikini of chargers, and this sign is funny, socket to me. The jail suits say USB-C, The job application is literally just a bunch of questions about taking phone chargers. It took until Rick mentioning him here
Listen, Beth, if you want to judge someone, call Jerry.
for me to realize that we hadn't seen Jerry yet. And after writing the rest of the breakdowns, I realized he's weirdly not in any episodes until the Easter one, I think. Which is sad, because I like seeing Jerry personally. I mean, Chris Parnell's an amazing voice actor, and if you've seen 30 Rock, you know he's also just hilarious on his own.
Morning. Now, full disclosure, most of my experience is putting babies in women.
I'm gonna kill that man.
You just described my morning.
Anyways, Beth has to charge her phone, and Rick tells her to use his charger, setting off Morty's second PTSD flashback. He's got a charger in his helmet, clearly designed to look like cigarettes, which I love the design of. This guy's helmet says, "Born to Charge." I mean, if there's one thing this team is good at, it's staying on theme. I might be absolutely crazy for even suggesting this, but when he wakes up and says,
Oh God! Oh my God!
does it not sound a lot like this from the Fear Hole episode?
God! Oh God!
It might be nothing, but I'm just saying. During the compilation, we see Morty choke a guy out with a charger and throw a grenade through an outlet shape. Once he's back, he does his best to put Rick at ease, tells him about a new device, only after having proven himself to know some engineering throughout the episode. And I gotta say, this disillusioned Morty speaks with a calm, numb tone of voice, a lot like evil Morty. I'd argue the line reads are a lot more similar than regular Morty, and I think that was a decision. Morty gives him a nice forehead kiss, and this is the best scene, if you ask me.
Here, check this out. Try her out.
What's it do?
Pulls the charge right out of man's heart. Thanks for the ride, Rick. Also, I didn't know Summer was gonna hijack a vehicle too. I've been planning this a lot longer than her.
No!
Something the matter, sir? You wouldn't be putting people in matrices, would you?
What?
Because that's something you should never do.
Ah! Seriously, Morty? You're that uncreative?
Who's Morty? Is that someone you put in a matrix?
And it's especially hilarious that Rick calls Morty uncreative for doing the exact same thing he did, which is funny on its own since he's copying the Matrix itself, meaning his idea wasn't any more original. And he also escapes the exact same way Summer escaped, by creating a directly opposing paradox to the Matrix's core lesson, in the form of an exact copy of the actual Matrix's real Earth, shorting it out, so it's kinda doubly funny, even though of course there's nothing wrong with him doing the same thing Summer did. It's also hilarious to me that they go out of their way to show that this guy survived the car wreck. I mean, how many deaths is Morty responsible for at this point? I don't think one more would matter. Like Rick said,
You're still the same old Morty. Your character's totally protected. It feels good.
and I'm pretty sure that applies at the end of every episode, right? After Rick stops the kids from beating up the scientist and averts the nuclear meltdown, getting enough radiation to instantly cause the lesions and hair loss, but literally just swiping it away afterward, which was awesome! Finally, we get the most emotionally resonant moment in the episode, a lot more so than the PTSD flashbacks, which weren't really designed to be emotional, just kind of brutal, which was funny when juxtaposed against such a silly Charger-themed war. But the advice Summer tries to give herself here.
Hi, Summer. You probably won't remember making this, but I just wanted to say, I love you, and you should love yourself. The first thing your peers will try to take from you is your adult empathy. It's your greatest gift.
To just love and accept yourself, and not let the world and the people around you take away your empathy. It's honestly good advice for any age. We judge ourselves so harshly throughout our lives. Learning to accept yourself may sound cliche, but it's something most people struggle to do until way too late in life. And after having climbed the corporate ladder, Summer is speaking from experience, saying that as you progress in life, you will be put in more and more situations where you're basically asked not to care about people or the things going on in their lives. Whether it's a sales job that asks you to sell things to people you know can't afford it, or firing someone who you know is doing their best because they're 10% less productive than average, or just generally putting the interests of the company you work for ahead of basic human decency. I've been put in all of these positions, and all of you probably will be too if you haven't already. The easiest way to get ahead in life is to not look at people like people. And a lot of people think that's okay or argue that you have to be realistic. It's either they succeed or you do. but I personally align more with what Summer is saying. And all of this is so funny because she closes the video like 5 seconds into what is probably a very long video and said,
Send a text. Yo, Trisha, what are we huffing tonight, bitch?